Welcome to Emigrate. Welcome to a space where you can be vulnerable, a space where you're not going to be judged, a space where you can be authentic. And my hope and desire is to inspire and motivate everyone that click onto this podcast. So welcome to another episode of Emigrate. I am so excited to do this podcast again. And welcome to my new guest, Orietta, or she said, Hori. We met through a mutual group, and I'm so excited for her to share her story and the amazing person that she is. And welcome, Orietta.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Tasha. Thank you for having me. It's going to be amazing talking to you as well.
It is. So tell us about yourself. Who is this amazing person that I met?
Oh, my goodness. Well, basically, I'm originally from Italy. I'm at the moment, I'm a positive mindset coach. And I lived in, I came from Italy when I was 18. It was originally just to study English. And then I decided to stay in the UK for many years. And then because I love the Caribbean and I love the culture, I went to live in the Caribbean in 2001, and I stayed there for 4.5 years. I lived basically the off-the-grid kind of life, which I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was an amazing way of life, and I'm planning to go back very soon. And I did that for 5 years, and now obviously I'm preparing because I'm 56 now, so I've got to think a bit more. Like when I moved there, I was quite young, but now obviously I've got to think more about other things before I move. But yeah, I think I'm going to go back there because that's, I think, where I belong.
So you said you moved to where? Dominica?
Yeah, Dominica, the nature island of Dominica, which is an amazing place. And it was amazing. I was living like in a hut, going to the river every day to do my washing, and there was no electricity, no running water, but it was the best time of my life. So I'm planning to do that again very soon.
Oh wow! Because I grew up in Jamaica, so we don't call it hut. It's like where I grew up, we had like board houses. I had electricity and everything, so I can resonate with that. And I kind of live like 15-20 minutes from a river. So sometimes when we do have electricity will gone, we'll go get water there or something. But or we go back to the village where my family is. We'll go to the river and stuff like that as kids. So I can definitely resonate with you. But then why did you think you end up moving there?
Well, I went on holiday and I really loved it. Then obviously I fell in love with somebody. And I was looking at that time, I was in my 30s, like early 30s, and I really didn't I don't really particularly like the cold weather anymore. So in those days as well, I felt like I had enough of the cold weather after about 17 years living in England. And so I had my daughter, she was about 5 years old. And I thought, well, you know what, let's just try. We went there, and it wasn't planned to leave off the grid. I thought we were going to live in an apartment or whatever. But then obviously my ex-husband was a Rasta, and he lived up in he had his own land and stuff. And I thought, you know what, I've always been living, when I was young in Italy, I used to go with my dad in the land, and so I adjusted really well. And it was just so natural for me to do this kind of life. It wasn't like I wasn't like missing anything, if you know what I mean. it's actually probably that's why I want to do it again, because that's the time where I was the most happier with no stress, and I had the very little, and it made me appreciate life more than when you have all these materialistic things. And now when I came back actually in 2005 actually, it helped me with my mental health as well to sometimes, for example, now with the cost of living and things, I don't stress as much as I used to, because obviously I lived with basic things and I survived and I did it very well and I enjoyed it. And now after that I was sort of prepared for the future, and now this is why at 56 I want to go back again and live very basic again, because it will help me quite a lot with my mental health as well.
It does. It actually does. And I can resonate with that. But I mean, living and growing up in it, it's two different things too, right? So what about your experience? Do you remember anything that you're like, oh my God, yes, I love it, or oh my God, this was my experience living there?
Well, as I said, obviously we didn't plan it to go and live like that, but once it was a bit of a struggle, let's say, the first few months, just the adjustment, because I never lived like that. But I could see as well from my daughter that she was 5, and she was adjusting really well to the culture, to the the fact that we had to carry water every morning before going to school, and because I had to do all the washing, so I had to make sure that every morning everything was prepared for me, and then in the evening again we had to do all the carrying all the water, and then on Saturday we'll go to the river and do all the washing. She adjusted very well, and so did I. And I think when we came to England, she was about 10 when she came to England, and she really missed that kind of life, and she was more mature, like with the peers that she met here. She was much more mature than her peers at school, and it made her appreciate as well, like me, life in general, and that we really don't need all that much. With the basic thing, we can still be very happy.
So other than the wonderful, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when I think about it, I always wonder how I would be if I grew up, for example, moving from Jamaica at that age and come to Canada. I always wonder. I don't know what would happen, but I would never change a thing, because of course I think it molds me into the young woman I am today. I'm more appreciative of certain things when I moved here.
Yeah.
Because I know what it is to not have. I know what it is to live in a house where you have to go outside for the bathroom, where you have to cook outside, right? Other than those little challenge, what else do you think was the most complex challenge living there?
I mean, to be fair, as I said, I really was very happy. I got more challenges here in the UK and in Italy, for example. Because, like, for example, I give you a very, example. I struggle with weight, okay? Right. So I struggle with my weight. And in Italy, one of the reasons why I came to England is because I was bullied quite a lot in Italy because of my weight, and during my teenage years, and even now that I'm 56, every time I go to Italy, I'm sort of really worried about my weight and what people look, they look at me and they might probably laughing and stuff. One thing I found that it was amazing for me and my confidence and my mental health was the fact that in the Caribbean, in Dominican especially, voluptuous women are really,
accepted and love.
Yeah. And I remember when I first arrived, obviously my ex-husband friend, they used to call me fat, and like, oh, she's a nice fat lady. And I used to say to them, don't call me fat. And he said, no, in a nice way, you're nice and fat. And because obviously the negative side when I've been brought up with fat is a negative word, when I was there, it was a positive. They made me feel like more confident about it, also as a woman, So I think that was the most beautiful experience for my confidence, for my mental health. In fact, I suffered from depression, anxiety, and when I was there was no sign of it because I was so happy. I was like, I could walk down the street and nobody, they will, it's a woman thing or is it a person thing? You want to be liked, don't you? So, people will like me and will appreciate the way I look, the way I dress, the way I talk. And so my confidence was really sky high, and something that I don't feel here or in Europe when I go to Italy, especially when I go to Italy, is a different story. I dread going to Italy, especially in the summer, for example. So that was the most positive side of being there as well for my confidence and my self-esteem. In fact, I opened a business within a few months, something that I'd never done before. I went there and I used the skills that I used to, my mom taught me how to cook pasta and things from scratch and stuff. And I created the only Italian restaurant in the island, and I would never do it here or in Italy because I'm not confident enough to do it. But over there, the confidence that I got it was really, really high. So it helped me with my doing all the things that I wanted to do. And so that was a great experience for that.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being vulnerable. And I think one of the things that people don't understand, and that's so important, that migrating, it's not just hard, but it boosts confidence. Because sometimes when you're at your comfort zone, like in England or in Italy, you know what I mean? People
Yeah,
see things differently. But when you migrate into a newer country, people see you differently and you're more
yeah,
appreciated, and you
yeah,
tend to do more when you're more appreciated, right? You tend to want to
definitely.
like do, like, not necessarily fit in, but you feel so confident and comfortable around everybody that you think you can move the mountains. um
Yes, yeah.
if you could turn back your young self, what would you tell your young self about I know you said your age, so I'm repeating it. You're 56 now. What would you tell your young self then? I saying, hey, your girl have actually moved to another country. What would you tell your young self?
Well, actually, I'm being a coach as well. I did that for myself as well to help me with whenever my imposter syndrome kicks in. What I do normally, I think of the things that I did, like when I was over there, and when I, like you said, when I think of my younger self, I was literally afraid of going to the shop because people would look at me and laugh at me. So since I've been back and stuff, and I look at my achieving, what I do in the restaurant, being in another country. Actually, now I moved to two different countries with two majorly different cultures, and I did really well. I fit in really well, and so what I would say to my younger self and to all the younger people that they have this problem, not to worry, because at the end of the day, in the future, you don't know what's going to happen. You get, like you said, when you go somewhere that you're feeling comfortable, accepted, and you find your way, your strength to do anything that you want to do comes. Like, I'm the sort of person that I don't have much, but I'm always very proactive in doing new things and experimenting new business, and just because I've got inside of me, like I know that I've done it once, I've done it twice, and I can do it again. So to my younger self, I will always say, don't worry, because your strength will come wherever you are and whenever you feel comfortable about yourself, and just love yourself the way you are. Don't look for how do you say in English, appreciation from other people, but start loving yourself, and then your strength will come from within. So, and I've learned that as well, especially the last couple of years or so. I've been thinking of the things that make me stop myself when I was younger, and I would not do certain things because of afraid of being bullied and stuff. And now I'm thinking, do you know what? Just do it. You know how to do it. You're capable of doing it. And that's why I sort of would say to my younger self to just go and do it. Don't think twice, because you're amazing and you can do it whatever you want to do if you set your mind to it.
Amazing. Thank you for that. It's so true. Like you will never know what you will do, and you say something so profound. You never know what the future will bring, right?
That's
Like,
right.
like who knows? Who knows if you give up or, you know, those thought where people like to demoralize people with body shaming. I really don't like that because they don't know
Yeah,
how damaging that can be. And then when you move into another country and someone is embracing you for who you are,
that's right.
it's such a huge impact on you. I know you have shared some encouragement just now, but is there any more encouragement you'd like to share with my listeners that's listening and they want to move into a country, whatever country they want? It could be the Caribbean, it could be North America, wherever. What would you tell them?
Well, I've been, I'll be very honest. When I moved to England, I was very young and I came for to learn English. So obviously, you have to be very when you go to another country, you have to do a lot of research. Um, the thing is with me, I'm very adaptable, and even though I didn't do much research, I still adapt. But some people obviously, it's much better for, like for example, now that I'm a bit older and a bit wiser, I'm researching everything, from the accommodation, transports, if I can do this, if I'm, also for me that maybe I cannot walk and do some certain thing. So it's always best to, research the area that anybody's going thoroughly, because when we're young, obviously we just a bit like, we don't think much of, we just go and do it. But in a certain age, and it's always best to research the area, and also do research about the country itself, because like you said before at the beginning, going for a little while is one thing, but when you experience living in a country is a totally different thing, totally different scenario. And like when I went to the Caribbean, like everybody, and anytime I say that I've been to the Caribbean and I lived in the Caribbean, a lot of people assume that I lived in a nice villa, in luxury, with a yacht and everything, and it's not like that. I lived the life, and that's what I would urge people to do. Live the life that the local lives, so you really feel the country and the vibes, not just going on. And one thing as well that I don't like, and maybe I'm gonna, I do say, ruffle some feather now, but I'm Italian, and when I came to England the first time, I never ever mixed with Italians. I'm only one family, that the family that helped me coming over, and then that's it. I wanted to learn the language. I wanted to master the language, and in order to be able to get a good job and not just do low pay jobs.
Yeah.
When I went to the Caribbean, same thing. I wanted to be with the local and embrace the culture 100%. And that's what I mean. If I ever go to another country, I will never bring Italy with me, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's one thing that I advise people as well, to embrace and just feel everything about the countries, not just being there and sightseeing for, just embrace the culture 100%.
I 100% agree with you. It's like you're speaking to me. And I thank you for encouraging me, because even though I've lived here this long, and I don't think it's as long as some people, but it's something I always say. And one of the things too I've learned, even if you move into a country, you can't stick with the people you know. You will never
Yeah,
grow. You
that's
cannot.
right.
I mean, as you said, if you wanna learn the culture, you have to live with the locals. You have to live with
Yeah,
people that actually know what it is. Sometimes
yeah,
I encourage my own fellow countrymen, or whatever we want to call it, that hey, you
yeah,
want to grow in the country that you are, go out and seek friendship from from people
that's
there,
right.
and they teach you, you're more culturally aware, and it's true. And
Yeah,
sometimes people
yeah,
think that, oh, let me stick with all the people from Italy, because, or let me stick to all the people from England, because I'm from England. No, it doesn't mean that
No, I
you,
totally
yeah,
disagree with that.
yeah, you have to mingle. And I always share scenarios. I'm like, if you want a good remedy, you have to mix and mingle things together, and it's true. It's so you're dropping some really. We
Yeah.
like to ruffle feathers here. Don't worry, and that's why
That's good.
I
No, because
have.
I think, especially if you go, like when I came to England, and I see a lot of people coming to England, and they don't mix with they don't learn the language. They just stay with that's, to me, is not really what it's like it should be, because we are guests into another country, and we need to learn the language. So I've been here now, well, apart from the 35 years now in England, and I'm very happy that I've always worked in good, well-paid jobs. I never had to work low pay, jobs because of I think I couldn't speak English. Within a year and a half, my English was okay, and if I moved to, say, for example, to Canada, where you speak French, I will want to speak French as well, because I want to be aware of what's going on around me. And that's another thing that is important. You need to be aware what is around you, what people say around you, So that's very, very important to me.
It is, and even though not every part of Canada does speak French, but it's true. It's if you live in that area in Quebec or in Montreal where it's
Yeah,
more profound to speak that language, learn the language,
yeah,
and it's something. And sometimes people are like, "Oh, you're showing off because you're with the local." No, you don't care. I always
yeah,
say,
yeah,
stick with people, and that's how I have been growing, and that's how I'm able to do things authentically. Because when you stick with the locals, as we're now using that terminology, you tend to grow better too as a person.
yeah, of
You grow
course.
faster than the persons that or from the same country that you are, because then you're learning the culture, you're doing things, as you said, or
Yeah,
professionally, you will grow faster.
yeah,
Because
absolutely.
and as we're wrapping up this little chat, I just want to thank you again. How has you seen your spiritual journey impact your journey while you're traveling and moving to these different countries?
Well, I think it's been greatly impact, because, also, just for example, when I was I think the Caribbean, it impacted me the most, because of the Rastafarian
Culture.
way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very basic, and I embraced it when I was there, and I'm still, that's why sometimes people wonder why I'm not really that materialistic, and I'm really very basic. I've been all my life, but when I went there, I realized actually we don't need all this materialistic thing, as long as we are happy within ourselves and be good to people and do good to people. I think that helped me, because when I remember when I was younger, when I went there, I was very, very judgmental. I was very, I wasn't really that calm. I had a bit of a anger issue. But after coming back from there, and after having the experience there, and also, coming back here and stuff, I really realized that the that way of life had really impacted in, so much on my spiritual journey as well. And it's impacted in a lot of things on my life, but it makes me more calm. I'd as I said, I'm very happy with what I've got. I don't stress about the things that I cannot get. So it's like, it's helped me quite a lot to, in my life the past 20 years as well, since I've been in England. So and that's why maybe I want to go back, because I feel really in this culture here, in this way of life here, I feel like a fish out of water, if you know what I mean.
Right, I do. Yeah.
So that's why maybe it's the most important impact that life did to me.
It's yeah. Being a Rastafarian, I can see that. I mean, it's so big in Jamaica
Yeah,
too. We have a huge community of that, and they're all about positivity and spirituality
yeah,
and
yeah,
living, loving people, living off of what you have. Be grateful. I dropped an episode on my podcast. I was talking about being
Yeah,
like literally just be thankful for what you have in the moment,
that's right.
because it doesn't matter what you can envy someone else, and that's one of the biggest thing the Rastafarian community support is like hiring is a word they use a lot. It's like
Yes, yeah,
be okay with what you have. I am okay. It's like,
yeah,
and it's true. Their menu and everything, just living off the earth and eat what you grow, and so that you can be healthy and all
that's
that.
right. Yeah, yeah. Your health is good. Your meditation is good. And this is why and I've learned so much when I was there as well that I didn't know, obviously. And now it's like, this is why I crave it so much. I want to go back because it's here. I'm just not living my the life that I want to live, and it's impossible to live like that in this in the UK. So hopefully soon.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. And as my next season, it's gonna get deeper. So when you transition to Dominican again, I'd love to have you back on my podcast.
Definitely, absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, and you talking about how that the change going back there. I mean, you have left there so long. I'm curious to know how that's gonna impact you going back. But
yeah, I think it's gonna be a bit different. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine that lives in Anguilla, and I would say to her, I just want a little house, like we used to have in Dominica. And she says, Ori, we don't do that anymore. We just have brick houses. I said, but I don't want that.
Right.
I want the little house.
Well, the brick house kind of help you, because if it has a hurricane or you have a storm, it's not gonna blow down, especially if you live near to the So a brick house sometimes, or we call it wall house, concrete house, it tends to be better because it's stronger for the winds and stuff like that, But Orietta, thank you so much to be so vulnerable.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm so glad when you said yes, and I read your story. I'm like, I'm gonna follow her everywhere.
Oh, thank you so much.
Is there anything else you want to share? And anything, can you just leave us with 3 words? If you want to share anything else, or just share 3 words with us that will uplift our soul.
Well, I would say to everybody that wants to move to another country or thinking, to be flexible, to embrace every culture, because we're all different, but we have the common, like we all all work together, and just stay safe. Really.
Great. Yeah, it's true, because man, it's not easy. It's a glimmer and the glamour, sometimes when you get there and you settle, but then to go through that transition, it's not an easy thing. So yeah, be flexible is one of the
of course,
and open to change, because man, things can, even if you have to be flexible. Even if you have done your research, you cannot really research everything until you're actually there.
Absolutely. Be flexible. I mean, being flexible and open to like change your plan in the last minute, and go with the flow. That's the main thing, because otherwise some people tend to be disappointed when they go places, because they just do one. Say for example, they do hit 10 and they go to class, and they just take the place for they please. If you're flexible, just learn how to go with the flow and just stay safe in a safe way, and every time I don't live under his space.
It's true. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure again. Thank you so much
for having me.
We'll continue this conversation, and I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to hear your story. So do you know when you're moving, or are you kind of like, I'm not sure, but all right?
Keep people posted. Thank you so much, Natasha.
It's a pleasure. You are now a part of this big, huge family that I'm starting. And
thank you.
So thank you for listening to another great episode of Immigrate. I was so thrilled and excited to have done that episode with Orietta. She was so fun. She was sweet. She was one of my best guests at Come On. Well, all my guests has been wonderful. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to another great episode. But until the next, but guess what? Season 2 is coming up on us creepily, and can you believe I'm almost done season 1? But thank you guys for listening to another great episode. Woohoo!